Welcome to our channel where we dive into the most chilling and terrifying true horror stories ever told. Stories that will send shivers down your spine, make you question reality, and leave you sleeping with the lights on. Stories that are 100% true. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss a story that will keep you up at night. And if you think you're brave enough, keep watching. Our first story takes us back to the early 1800s, to a small town in Tennessee called Adams. It's here we meet John Bell, a prosperous farmer, and his family, a family about to be thrust into the clutches of a terrifying and unexplained phenomenon that would haunt them for generations. You see, the Bell family had an unwelcome guest move in with them, an entity, a presence, that made itself known in the most unsettling of ways. They called it the Bell Witch. At first, it started subtly. Strange sounds around the farmhouse, footsteps in the dead of night, objects moving inexplicably. But soon the activity escalated. The entity, the witch, began to communicate, to speak, to taunt the Bell family. Its voice, they said, was high-pitched, raspy, like nails on a chalkboard. It hissed threats, whispered secrets, and tormented the family mercilessly. But the witch reserved its most vicious attacks for John Bell. She would slap him, pinch him, even leave physical marks on his body. Doctors were baffled, neighbors were terrified. See, the witch, she seemed particularly fixated on John's youngest daughter, Lucy. Some say the witch was jealous of Lucy's youth and beauty. Others believe it saw in Lucy a kindred spirit, a vessel to prolong its own malevolent existence. The torment went on for years, years of whispers, threats, and physical assaults. The family tried everything to rid themselves of the witch. They held prayer meetings, consulted with spiritualists, even attempted to appease the entity. But nothing worked. The witch remained, its grip on the Bell family tightening with each passing day. As John Bell lay on his deathbed, many believe it was the witch who delivered the final blow, poisoning his medicine. Even in death, the Bell family couldn't escape the witch's grasp. John Bell's dying words were a plea for his family to find peace, to escape the clutches of the entity that had tormented them for so long. But the Bell Witch, it seemed, wasn't finished. Years after John Bell's death, the witch supposedly returned, briefly terrorizing some of his descendants before vanishing once more. To this day, the legend of the Bell Witch continues to haunt the hills of Tennessee, a chilling reminder that some forces, some entities, defy explanation, logic, and reason. Our next story takes us to the icy wilderness of the Ural Mountains in Russia, to a place called Dyatlov Pass. It's here, in February 1959, that 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition, an adventure that would end in unimaginable horror. The group, led by a young man named Igor Dyatlov, were seasoned hikers, familiar with the terrain and the challenges of winter in the Urals. They were well-equipped, in high spirits, and eager to conquer the mountain. But something went terribly wrong. Days after they were expected back, a search party was sent out. What they found was a scene of utter chaos and inexplicable terror. The hikers' tent was ripped open from the inside, as if they had fled in a desperate panic. Scattered around the campsite were their belongings, their shoes, their supplies. It was as if they had abandoned everything and run for their lives. But where had they run? And from what? The search party followed the hikers' footprints, leading away from the campsite and into the frozen wilderness. What they discovered next sent chills down their spines. The bodies of the hikers were found scattered in the snow, some partially clothed, some barefoot, some with horrific injuries. But the injuries, they weren't consistent with an animal attack or an avalanche. Some of the hikers had fractured skulls, broken ribs, and internal injuries so severe, it was as if they'd been crushed by an immense force. But there were no external wounds. One hiker was found missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips. Another, his face frozen in a silent scream. Theories abound as to what happened that night at Dyatlov Pass. Was it an avalanche, a wild animal attack, hypothermia-induced madness, or something far more sinister? Some whisper of secret military experiments, of infrasound-induced panic, of encounters with something otherworldly. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most baffling and unsettling unsolved mysteries of all time. A stark reminder that in the vast and unforgiving wilderness, some secrets are best left buried. Chapter 3. Our journey into the heart of darkness takes us next to a seemingly ordinary house in Enfield, England. But behind the facade of normalcy, a malevolent force was about to unleash a reign of terror that would captivate and horrify the world. It was here, in 1977, that the Hodgson family moved into their new home, unaware of the nightmare that awaited them. It started subtly. Strange noises in the walls, objects moving on their own, but soon, the activity escalated into something far more sinister. Furniture overturned, disembodied voices, and the relentless torment of the family's young daughters. The entity, it seemed, was particularly drawn to 11-year-old Janet Hodgson. She became the epicenter of the paranormal activity, levitating in her sleep, speaking in guttural voices, even being thrown across the room by unseen forces. Investigators, parapsychologists, and even skeptics were drawn to the house in Enfield, hoping to debunk the claims or witness the paranormal firsthand. Among them were renowned paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who would later describe the Enfield poltergeist case as one of the most terrifying experiences of their careers. The Warrens believed that Janet and her sister were the targets of a demonic entity, a malevolent force that was using the young girls as pawns in its twisted game. The evidence was chilling. Photographs of Janet levitating, recordings of her speaking in different voices, and eyewitness accounts from neighbors and investigators who witnessed the paranormal activity firsthand. The Enfield poltergeist case divided public opinion. Some dismissed it as a hoax, a clever ruse perpetrated by attention-seeking children. Others believed it to be a genuine case of demonic possession, a terrifying glimpse into the dark underbelly of the supernatural. Whatever the truth, the Enfield poltergeist case remains one of the most well-documented and compelling paranormal cases in history. A chilling reminder that some houses, some places, hold secrets that are best left undisturbed. Chapter 4. Our next tale of terror transports us to the isolated farmstead of Hinterkaifeck, Germany, a place where the tranquility of rural life would be shattered by an act of unimaginable brutality. It was here in 1922 that 6 members of the Gruber family were brutally murdered in their home. What makes the Hinterkaifeck murders so unsettling, so deeply disturbing, is the chilling sequence of events that preceded the massacre. Days before the murders, the family patriarch, Andreas Gruber, confided in neighbors about a series of strange occurrences around the farm. He spoke of footprints in the snow leading to the house, but no footprints leading away. He heard footsteps in the attic, but found no one, and a set of house keys went missing, never to be found. It was as if an unseen guest had taken up residence in their home, watching, waiting. Andreas Gruber's concerns were dismissed as paranoia, the ramblings of a man burdened by the isolation of farm life. But his fears, as we know now, were tragically justified. On the night of the murders, the killer lured the family one by one to the barn, where they were brutally murdered with a mattock, a farm tool similar to a pickaxe. The killer then entered the house, where they killed the family's maid and their youngest child, a baby, who was still in her crib. The killer remained on the farm for several days after the murders, feeding the cattle, eating the family's food, even sleeping in their beds. It was as if they were trying to maintain the illusion of normalcy, to pretend that nothing had changed. Despite a thorough investigation, the killer was never apprehended, and the Hinterkaifeck murders remain one of Germany's most infamous unsolved crimes. The brutality of the murders, the chilling premonition of the family patriarch, and the eerie presence of the killer in the days following the massacre all contribute to the enduring mystery and horror of the Hinterkaifeck case. Chapter 5. Our final story tonight takes us on a journey into the realm of urban legend to a place where fear takes on a familiar yet deeply unsettling form. The eyes of a child. Black-eyed children. They appear on doorsteps, often in pairs, their small frames dwarfed by the night. They knock softly, their voices quiet, almost pleading. They ask for help, for a place to rest, for a glass of water. But it's their eyes that instill a primal fear, a visceral dread, in those who encounter them. Their eyes are completely black, devoid of pupils, devoid of light. Windows to a darkness that chills the soul. Those who have encountered these children speak of a sense of unease, a feeling of wrongness, that washes over them the moment the children approach. Some describe a feeling of being watched, followed, even hunted, by these enigmatic figures. Reports of black-eyed children surface sporadically, often in online forums, and paranormal websites. The stories share striking similarities. The children's appearance, their unsettling demeanor, and their insistence on being invited inside. But why do they want to come inside? What are their intentions? Some believe they are lost souls seeking help from the living. Others see them as something far more sinister, demonic entities disguised in youthful facades, their black eyes, gateways to a realm of darkness. Whatever their true nature, the black-eyed children serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters wear the faces of innocence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, give us a thumbs up and share your own scary experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. We've got so many more spine-chilling tales to share with you. Stay tuned for more spine-chilling tales, and remember, sometimes the truth is scarier than fiction. Sweet dreams.